Good morning. It's Brian. You are back on the Art of Startup War, where we only bring in warriors, and no greater warrior than my wonderful investee, my wonderful friend, incredible entrepreneur, somebody who is building a phenomenal business. We're going to talk today about everyday luxury that every single, I don't even know if it's every woman on the planet, but I'm going to expand that out there for a couple of random Irish people as well who deserve it too. So, Ira, welcome to the podcast. We're going to have a bunch of investors who are listening into this, and I want them all to see what I saw when I first invested in you, which is the beast of a warrior that you are, and the phenomenal business opportunity that you have executed.
Oh my gosh, Brian, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so ready. I am so excited. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's get everybody let's talk about stink. Let's talk about bodies. Let's talk about healthier. Let's talk about changing the world.
I love that we kick it off with Sting. I just love that. I love that you can just called Freedom, right? You
Yes.
bring me back to my William Wallace times where we just
Freedom.
where we just
Right?
know what it's about. And it is about freedom. And so talk to me about your products are beautiful, first of all, just beautiful,
Thank
right?
you.
There's class and there's elegance and there's luxury to them. And I remember when you first came into the dojo when we were hosting an event, and I looked at this and I thought, this is one of the most exquisite. It was just a small deodorant holder, but it was so beautiful and so classy and so elegant. And I remember thinking, and I had Genevieve with me, and Genevieve's like, you got to meet this lady. You got to meet her. She's incredible what she's built. And I remember looking at it and thinking, if this can be expanded into an entire line, this is going to be one of the most important skincare, healthcare, every care, luxury care products that's going to come out on the market. And it was the easiest decision in the world for us to invest in you. And going forward, that has only been reinforced. But can you just take us back to the genesis of the idea? Like, what were you doing? Where were you? And what made you think that starting a CPG product business was a good idea to, to take it
I
from
ask
nothing to
myself that
something?
every day. What was I thinking? Was there alcohol involved in this? No. I ran a successful financial firm, had it for 20 years. And then over a 6 month period of time, I had three friends come into my office, 31, 41, and 43, that were diagnosed with breast cancer. And I'm like, whatever you're drinking, I don't want it. I have three daughters myself. It really hit home. And we started changing what we were putting on our bodies, because it's not just what you put in your body, it's also what you put on your body. Your skin is your
Right.
largest organ, right? I mean, it absorbs everything you put on, literally 100% of what you put on it. So we were able to switch so many things around except for deodorant. Deodorant was really difficult, right? And some of the other stuff wasn't that great, but it worked. It was fine. But if you think about it, what do you use every single day and sometimes even twice a day, right? Toothpaste, deodorant.
Hmm.
You only take one shower a day, but you'll be reapplying your tooth, you'll be brushing your teeth a couple times, and you'll be putting on deodorant a couple times. And you might, if you're lucky, you'll brush your hair. I currently am bald from my cancer treatments, but I can't wait to brush my hair again. And I do that multiple times. So we really struggled because if you wanted something natural, you had to go to the hippy dippy store, right? And get all the natural stuff. And that stuff sucks. Like, no offense. I don't want to smell like a tree. I'm from Seattle. I don't need to smell like I'm from Seattle. Um, I didn't want to smell like a tree. I didn't want to put my hand in a pot. It was really difficult, the application. It was very natural. And when you went into a high-end store, which I love to shop at, it was 95% clean. It was 76% clean. And I always wondered, what was that other 5% they put in there? Is that the stuff that's going to trigger the cancer? Is that the stuff, because what a lot of people didn't realize is that antiperspirant that you find in your regular drugstore is a drug by the FDA. I didn't know that.
No.
You're using a drug every single day right next to your armpits. 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, which that number is actually changing to 1 in 7 now. Now that I've joined the ranks of the warrior crew. but it's a drug and I don't want to put drugs on my body. And it was either luxury wasn't 100% clean or natural was so natural, it was not luxurious anymore. So I was like, why can't we put the two together? And, Brian, it's like what they say, you get the itch, the entrepreneurial itch, right? It was like a burn. Every night I would go to sleep and I would think about packaging and smell and, oh, we can make this so much better. And it literally started with one Pinterest recipe about 25 recipes ago. And I just got hooked. And I was like, this is a game changer. It's a game changer.
Yeah, and it's really incredible. And obviously, cancer is tremendously personal to you right now for all the right
Right.
reasons. But it's not just cancer, right? It's just when you
No.
put toxins on your body, you are opening yourself up to a lot of things to happen that we don't understand what the chain reaction is or what happens to it. But what we do know is that if we stay natural and we don't allow any of those into our being, then it's just a smarter idea on every single level. Like there's literally nobody in the world that would say it's not a much better idea to go natural. The challenge has always been that it's and I don't know if this is more women than men, it may be, but the challenge has always been is that if somebody wants to look really nice and they want to smell really nice, it's not really a fair choice, right? To say
Yeah.
which is more important, that me feeling really confident and strong and feeling good and looking good, or me putting 100% on my body. And so when I saw that you brought that through, I thought, how powerful is this going to be? So when you went into this, because as you said, you're a very successful businesswoman, had done incredibly well with your business, but product is a whole new ball game. And so that when you when you brought that to the market, obviously you were working it, you were bringing it. What was the first reaction when you brought your first product out? What did people say?
Well, I have to tell you, I first gave it to my friend Cindy, who was going through menopause at the time because she's going through cancer treatments and throws you
Mhm.
right into it. And she was just a mess. And she's actually our CPA. She actually is a partner of a massive CPA firm. So she couldn't go into meetings. She's smelly. It was bad. And she called me after I gave her the first deodorant and she was crying. And I thought, my God, did something happen? And she was crying because she's like, this smells amazing. It works. People are not
Wow.
avoiding me. My husband will talk to me. My kids will be around me. She goes, I feel like a woman again.
Wow.
And that right there was like, aha, we kind of got the secret sauce going, and my whole goal was for it to look good, smell good, and actually work. And I think a testament to that was our first account was the Four Seasons. Um, there's such a high caliber as well. And we gave them some product to try and they ordered right away and they sold out in 3 days after their first PO. So that told me that people are looking for this. And by the way, people are really loving this.
And
So
that's such a big deal to get into such a large corporate account when you're such an early stage startup. So that convinced you I'm on the right track. I am
right.
making a difference in individuals' lives, people who I love, and I'm also having large corporations that would normally need to deal with far larger companies to come through. What happened next?
Well, next I was trying to figure out if we could put out different scents and whatnot. So every day, every weekend, I was making a ton of deodorants in my kitchen, which was not sustainable. And we were getting accounts left and right. And by the way, did I mention that I ran a financial firm at the time with 3 kids? So once that started to pick up, we got a commercial kitchen, we started manufacturing, then we started getting a manufacturer. I always said to myself, when we have a manufacturer, I have to make a decision. I can't run both things. And I ended up selling my financial firm end of 2017 and went fully into freedom in 2018. And I sold it successfully, didn't even take an income for 2 years. Um, I was very comfortable and fine and put that money into freedom to get it to that next level. So um, we started rocking and rolling, and it was just me and basically one other person and a couple small people I hired in to help us manufacture until we got that manufacturer.
And then so you got the and that move from the kitchen, it's a very big move. But everybody who starts product, right? Especially when you're starting at bootstrapping it, you have to start it like that because the manufacturers are not going to take you in when you're
No.
looking on small runs. So that's a very big move. Like that time when you're like, wow, they're going to take, a manufacturer is going to be able to take us. We're going to be able to build it. We're going to go for large runs. It's a great time, but it's also a scary time. How did
Terrifying.
you, yeah. So how did you go through the transition of, I make some in my sink. It's okay. I sell them. I make some money. I can't lose. It's fine, to, whoa, I'm just going to go straight in the hole for 20, 30, 40K.
It's, I still, like we just put out a $75,000 PO and I'm like, I could have made that in my kitchen in 2 weeks. I mean, but you can't do that, right? It was a struggle. And by the way, I still play in my kitchen for other products. So, and the chemists hate it because I make it in my kitchen, then I send it to them and they're like, did you write down that recipe? Like, what do we have to do? It was a struggle, but the thing is we have to scale, right? You can't scale making small runs. You have to swing at the big boys. And we were lucky, we had some trials and tribulations on that, but we learned from it, which was great. But we had to scale. That's the only way we could get this company to the next level. And I was very adamant about a couple of things. I was adamant we're not doing farmers markets. We're a luxury brand. We were very clear in the vision of who our client was and where we're going after them. And, if Target wants to do, a million piece run, how are you going to go from your kitchen to a manufacturer and actually get that manufacturing right? Because what I learned is very rarely did they get it right on the first run.
Right.
And you can never piss off a Target. You piss them off one time and you're never coming back.
Yeah.
So I almost felt like that was our practice run, it was our trials before we go into the Olympics. So unfortunately, though, it is a big, big suck on the cash part because they're not small runs and you are spending $20,000, $30,000 for 1 cent, and you've got 5 cents. So do the math, right? And then by the time you make it into that, you sell it, right? And we have over 400 spas. We've got major retailers now and distributors, but they have net 30s, or in some cases during the pandemic, they wanted net 60s, right? So you're laying out all this money, the product's coming through, has to get to your distribution center, then you get it to whoever's going to sell it, and then they're not going to pay you for at least another 30 days.
Right.
So that was the big challenge that nobody talked about. It's not make a great product and people will buy it. It's how do you manage your cash flow?
Yeah.
Right. And how do you make your runway shorter as well as far as production goes and longer as far as cash flow goes?
It makes total sense. You coded it. I actually think it was even more challenging for you because you were creating a new category, which is everyday luxury, which is almost a category that clashes with itself because because we live in such a classless system, we almost feel that you can only have luxury if you have lots of money. And if you have lots of money, you have lots of time. And if you have lots of time, you have lots of privilege and you should get luxury. And everybody else, the other 98%, they're all screwed. It's just the deal, right? Maybe somebody will give you a foot massage once a year, but that's it. You're done after that. And so I really love the fact that you believe that every single woman deserves luxury every single day, but at the price that they can afford. And so that was what was really nice about it. So that in itself, because it's a brand category, is even more challenging because your messaging needs to be so different. How did you approach that?
We're still working on it. We're still trying to get that messaging, but I knew for a fact that one, our client profile is very, very specific as well. They were on target. We knew that our client was 25 to 45 is really our client. We could even hit to that 50 mark, right? In fact, I think we're moving a little bit older because we are the women that we're kind of done experimenting all the time. We just want something that works and works great and makes us feel good, right? We're exhausted. Our girl is exhausted. She is our Wonder Woman. She probably has a job. She has kids. She's an athlete. She is high performance and she's running around like crazy 24 hours a day, right? So that's our girl that when she finds something she loves, she's going to hold on to it. And you know what? It makes her feel good for even just that moment. Our shower sprays, I remember when those came out and I mean, everybody was like, I could just sit in my shower for like ages. It made it their happy place. People used to call our deodorants, they still do. Our lavender citrus is their happy place because it reminds them of a spa, right? I want something that transports you and you don't have to worry about it. It gives you freedom, right? And once we honed into that, that's the part that we try to get out to people. It doesn't have to be crazy, weird, special. It just has to smell good, feel good, look good, and actually work. That's it. That's all we ask.
That's beautiful. Listen, many's the morning. Many's the morning when I'm preparing for an awesome day ahead of me. And then I spray that eucalyptus up in the air and it just comes down on me and just a world of awesomeness. And I get out of that shower and I'm like, bring it on.
Let's
And
go.
then somebody will like put a bloody towel on you, for God's sake, you fool. But in that moment, I'm like there. So I really feel what you're saying, because I took the products home actually the very first time and I said, try this and try this and try this. And every one of them was wow, 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 wow. So you really nailed it. So then it becomes about, how do you get the investment to make sure that you can actually build a company up? Because we're not talking about a small family business here. We're talking about building a unicorn. We're talking about building a company that's worth over $1 billion, which has probably got 20, 25, 30 different SKUs, whereby you're selling millions, if not tens of millions of dollars a month in revenue. That's the goal. That's where we're on our way to. So how do you, and you can't do that without investment. It's just you require the gas in your tank to get the turbo cranked up. So what did that look like? You did the first jump, kitchen to manufacturing. Now you're taking the second jump, which is to go from manufacturing, bringing in a couple of $1,000s a month in revenue, to cranking that up to, $50,000 a month. Talk us through that and talk us through how you got the investment and who you went to.
So getting investment was probably the hardest lesson out of this whole thing. And it was the hardest thing for me to do. I didn't have a network and I was in a place that didn't have VCs or anything like that. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's very heavy in, real estate and gaming, right? And people look at you like, oh, you're making a deodorant. And I'm like, no, we're making everyday luxury, right? We're making a full line. No, you're making deodorant. And they didn't understand it. It was very tough. So I started with just asking people, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And the people that I talked to on the professional investment side were like, well, who do you want to talk to? And they would send me lists of 400 to 500 VCs. And I didn't know who to call. It was really a struggle in the beginning. We got lucky. We got an angel that came in who is the CEO of Scientific Games, which is the largest gaming company in the world. And casino gaming company in the world. And he loved it because he knew me from the financial world. And he's like, I've always loved what you do. I love your deodorant. He literally bought it off Amazon and sent me a picture of it. And he goes, I want to invest. And I told him no 3 times earlier because I didn't think we needed investors. And when I did say we were ready to invest, he jumped right in. That being said, I had a tough time after that. So I went back to him and he said, let me introduce you to some people. So, and they all wanted us to be in the multi-million-dollar rank already before investing, which was hard. We were too small, quote unquote. And that led me to just asking everyone I knew, how do you do this? Who do you talk to? I mean, you really got to just start making friends with other entrepreneurs who have raised money and let them start making introductions for you. And I found that entrepreneurs were the best people to make introductions. So I started making more friends. I mean, Brian, that's actually how we met with Dojo. It was one of our investors, Margaret Harding, who was coming to an event with you guys. And I said, let me bring something. I was prepared at all times. And, but I mean, I got rejected. I was in tears after one particular meeting, after he told me how horrible we were, and I will have no problem saying that was CEO Bigelow because he was horrible to me. And I thought that was so rude and unnecessary. Right. But we started asking, I was part of the Tory Burch Fellows. I applied to that and got picked up for that. And they had us pitch. And I wasn't even raising money at that point. But what happened was it gave me a list of people and I ended up getting Jesse Draper out of that from Halogen. It's really, I think what people need to know about investments is, they tell you, you're going to get like 100 rejections to 2 yeses, right? And it's true. And it's learning how to not take that personally, but it is personal because your business is your baby.
It's very
Right?
personal.
It's the
I love
stupidest
that
thing.
phrase. I love that
Yeah.
phrase, actually.
Don't
It's
take
like
it
this.
personal, but oh, I
It's
feed
like,
my
really?
children off this. Oh, this is my livelihood, but don't take it personal. I
Uh,
really don't mean anything, even though you're putting your blood, sweat, and
yeah.
tears into this. Stupidest phrase, right?
Mm.
Stupidest fucking
But
phrase.
you're building it up, right? You're building, so you're
Yeah.
making, and just for investors listening to this, this is the road of warriors. Like, you start it, you build it, you prove it, you execute it, people like it. You then go to the bigger stage. You then go and get the distribution done. You need more money. You then go to the bigger stage. You start doing it. Jesse Draper from Halogen, the very big VC here in
Mhm.
LA. So that's a bigger stage. Now you suddenly have an institutional investor who is saying, I believe in you, I believe in your product, which is a bigger stage from the angel investor that had said it before. And now the company hits 50K a month, is suddenly starting to show that you're doing some incredible things. You've got some large hotels, you've got some large corporations that are using you. What happens next? And I think also what was really incredible, like you and I had a conversation a couple of months back, and you said, "Oh my gosh, like I've been diagnosed with cancer,
Yeah.
and this is, although an unbelievably emotionally challenging moment, just to even say it in this most minimal sense, what was really incredible to me was like how your mindset was immediately, not 3 months afterwards or 6 or 12 months after, immediately in a place of, if I was committed to providing everyday luxury lives to women all over the world by making sure that my products were released everywhere. And the only thing they ever touched again was things that were beautiful, that smelled nice, that looked gorgeous, and that were so natural that their skin would crave for more. I want to multiply that by 1,000 now. This has now become the reason why I live. And so I found that to be so powerful, how 99% of people would have looked and said, how unlucky am I? Like, this isn't fair. This is terrible. This shouldn't be happening to me at my age. And you turned it into a weapon, which I don't see how, I mean, I don't see anything being able to stop that weapon. So I was just blown away and just, emotionally charged to make sure that I support you and everything else. And I appreciate you, and I think you're incredible and the way you've turned it around. But what you're going to do right now, the way you're charged, is going to be incredible. And this is where I see you jumping from this 50K a month. I know you got plenty of money in the bank. You're great at conserving money. You've got all of this mojo now to go out to the world. So talk to me in a better way than I'm describing it, for where your mind is and what you're going to do throughout 2022 and especially 2023, when you're like pumping back, you got that flowing hair back again, you're out in the world, you got your products and you're ready to go. Like, what does supercharged era look like?
Well, I think she might keep short hair for a little while because it's nice and cooling. Um, the bald, maybe not the bald look. We're going to grow some of that back. But the you're I was in tears when you were talking about that, because I mean, getting a cancer diagnosis at any time is, I mean, that'll knock you back so far. But for some reason, I never thought of why me. I thought of why not me? Because I'm going to change this and I'm going to fight this. And I am the warrior that you say. And I am going to create an even better line for things that, because we started from breast cancer, and we we're trying to create a world that if anybody has to go through anything hard, not just cancer, anything hard, that they could escape to and know that it was clean and not worry about. We're going to make it even better. There's going to be certain products we're going to bring out that, by the way, through my cancer journey, I have found that I can't use a couple of our products, right? Not for ingredients, but just the way it was designed, right? So guess what? I'm going to make another design, and I'm going to create another product that I could use every day because I've been using somebody else's, right? It's actually inspired me to do more. We've actually we've teamed up with a couple of really cool people too. That'll be announced pretty soon, in a week too, that are cancer survivors and have cancer in their lives. And 1 in 8 women is a pretty large demographic in the
Yeah.
US. And by the way, it affects everyone around them. their husbands change, their kids change the things that they do. So it's not just that woman, it's their whole family changes on the products that they use. So that's really my focus, is to bring out more products and better products and scale them to that next level. Also, what we're finding too is that the retailers are looking for this because their people are coming in looking for things like this, right? And aren't happy with what they're finding on their shelves. We actually had a study, we did a study about 2 years ago during COVID, and 95% of the people in that study came back saying that our deodorant was actually better than the ones they found on the shelves. That was a year and a half, 2 years ago. There hasn't been much difference in the last couple of years. So I'm really excited to take us to that next level. You know, on the hotel side, we're making strides on that, which is fantastic. But we just met with Urban Outfitters and Pharmaca, you know, last week. And I love going into meetings with my bald head because people look at me and it reminds them of someone they knew.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a big deal because that's that connection. And we want people to have that connection with us.
I like
So,
that. And I
yeah.
like that. And looking behind you, you got the Wonder Woman shield on the wall and your warrior face and your beautifulness that's all around that. And this great product that you're bringing out, which is going to be phenomenal. Just talk a little bit about, if you can, like how the margins and the metrics all work. So especially as you bring them through, because I think, look, everybody listening to this is like, okay, cool. I got this. I know that to be an incredibly successful entrepreneur, you have to have vision, you have to maintain cash flow, you have to have a great team around you, and you have to be really focused on growth. Nobody has any question on vision. Like everybody listening to this now is thinking, oh my goodness, this is the way, this is the world that we want to live in. Not even
Right.
just, this is the world that we want to live in with people like Ira here. So that's set. With regards to the growth, I think everybody feels the growth that you're going to build. Like we know that we got to get from 50K a month to 500K a month. We know that's just a question of multiplication, right? We're going to get more SKUs and we're going to drive it through more channels, all of which that you're working on. But just built within that, before I move on to team, what do those metrics look like? The margins that you have, I know, but I think if you share it with investors so they can see truly the amount of profits a great line like this can make, they'll be blown away.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Margins have been affected recently just because if you haven't noticed, inflation's been going up,
Mm-hmm.
and all our manufacturers we've got 3 manufacturers. They've all come back and said, hey, listen, we've got to hire people for more money. And the products are coming in on shipping containers that are 3 times more than they were 6 months ago. So our margins have fallen a little bit. I mean, come on. We went from 90% to 83%.
So, Ira, we have all of the other areas covered that you've done so incredibly well on. Talk to us about the team and what you've actually done there.
Right. So we have 4 core values, right? We have integrity, accountability, joy, and one more that I always forget, commitment. Sorry. And it's all around me. I literally have it right in front because usually my computer is facing this way. But that's super important for us. And I've really struggled on the team side. If I could tell you that I have a weakness, that is definitely my weakness, but nothing else. But I'm really taking the time right now and putting the effort into hiring the right people because they've got to be able to know how to get to that next level. They have to have that experience. Well, we've always hired really non-experienced people and we are trying to train them up. I really am trying to bring in a couple of key experienced people. Our new head of sales is super experienced. She was a spa director for Glen Ivy. She's amazing. She doesn't stop. She's a beast. I'm bringing more of beast mode in. So that's what we're looking for and trying to bring that team together. That's going to happen over the next 3 to 4 months because there's just been a lot of juggling from the Great Resignation. And as I mentioned, we had 3 of our top guys poached because they were good, and other people had a lot more money than us. And I had to replace 3 key people. And that's been
Hey, just let's do something. Hey, Vincent, I'm sorry, buddy, just do one more time. Yeah, so that's been going on for a little while. Yeah.
You want me to turn off the air conditioner?
Oh God, yeah. No, no, no. Yeah. Yeah.
It's off.
You're going to hear it a little bit as you go through the,
You guys.
okay, cool. Okay, good
Okay,
stuff.
there you go. I
Now,
just turned it off.
okay, wonderful. And then the second thing is you don't need to go too deep into this stuff. I know you have a
Okay.
feeling that you want to like say every single thing.
Okay.
Like, so I'm going to rephrase it just slightly differently.
Okay.
But just talk about like we're about to go into one of the best periods of all time. Everybody's losing their jobs. Like companies are in trouble. You're in a really strong place. You got lots of money. You didn't really need people before. You kind of wanted people. Now that you need to find the greatest people and you're going to go out and find them. So just don't worry about the other stuff. Like the other stuff's
Okay.
only detail. They don't
Great.
care. Okay, Ira. So we've talked a lot about the how you are going to grow as an entrepreneur. We talked about your vision. We've talked about how you're going to grow, build your growth, and everything else. Let's talk about the team. Let's talk about like how you are going to build a team that has the ability to position you in 2023 with revenue of well over $1 million and the ability to grow that to $3 to $5 million by the following year.
We're super lucky right now because we have the opportunity to go and pick up some great people that a lot of other companies are letting go right now. Companies are closing down, and it's like the aftermath of COVID is really happening right now, which gives us so many people to choose from. So I'm super excited to get some really quality key members onto our team in the next I would say 2 to 3 months. We should be staffed up.
Yeah, and I know that you have some very core values which are
I do.
tremendously important to you. So when those people, and especially for people listening, because we have, look, there's a bunch of folks who are investors listening. We've also got a stack of other people that are like in the space, but maybe there's somebody here who's looking for a job and they've heard you speak and they're inspired by what you're building. What are the main core capabilities and values that you're looking in those folks?
Growth is a big one. Growth, accountability, integrity, commitment, and my favorite one, you ready for this one? Joy.
Yeah.
I need joy in my life. When I'm talking to you and we've got a container stuck in the South China Sea, and we don't know if it's ever coming up for air, I don't want the world to end. The world does not end. We can make more bottles. We could find a way to do it. I want this to be like, holy shit, okay, at least we got that out of the way. Let's move on to the next one. I need happy people in my life. For God's sakes, I fight cancer. Today's my last chemo treatment, but I'm on to radiation and years of scans and pills. If I could find joy from that, really, what else is there going to be that's that bad? I want people to be happy. Happy people is what I want.
Hallelujah. And for
Yeah.
everybody out here, like this, you're watching, these are the types of entrepreneurs who made America what America is today. And so I love what you're doing. I love what you've built. I believe that this company is going to jump up from 500,000 plus this year, and it's going to jump up to a couple of million next year, maybe 1.5, and it's going to jump up to 3 to 5 after that. And then suddenly we move into that game of you're now into the millions of dollars a month in revenue, and we have ourselves a unicorn. So any investors who are listening who would like to dig in deeper, how can they contact you, Ira?
Oh, so it's Ira, IRA, at freedomdeo.com. And DEO is like short for deodorant. So Ira, IRA, at freedomdeo.com. And you could always Instagram send me a DM. I feel so cool when I say that, right? You could DM me on Instagram. We've got a great social gal that'll get it over to us, and watch our Instagram lives because we're doing it with some really, really key people in the next couple of weeks and leading up to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So Instagram at Freedom Deodorant, Ira at freedomdeo.com. You could always check out our website and hit the contact us button, and our customer service team will get that over to me. So there's like so many different ways, and you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm not on there all the time, but you can find me on LinkedIn, but you have to do it under my maiden name, Ira Kaganovsky.
Oh, we'll stick. Listen, don't worry. We'll stick with the email. They got you. Ira, as I said a dozen times on the show so far, You're a beast. You're
Thank
amazing. You're
you.
incredible. You're building a phenomenal company that the world needs. And let's bring everyday luxury to every woman on the planet.